My name is Samrudddhi, and today we're going to talk about one of the most interesting models in this course, broadcast. In most instances, it offered me hands-on experience. It made sure that the areas I explored were relevant, up to date, while researching the story I wanted to produce. I wanted to make sure that the TV package I created was interesting, vibrant, and diverse. The podcast I made was engaging enough to keep the listeners intrigued until the very end, and I wanted to make sure that the work was lively and engaging enough for the live performance. I began by researching news items and scheduled events in leads on internet. YouTube channels like BBC and ITV offered motivation for me. Additionally, available on YouTube are some of the news samples that helped. I wanted to make sure that I followed all the Ofcom guidelines and used the appropriate format. The TV package I produced required the most work. I made the decision to contact the authorities in advance for the permissions to film that were necessary. Because it was a march, I needed to keep up with the crowd and adjust my camera accordingly. Since the crowd began to move, there was a lot going on. I managed to capture most of it. Most of the shots were stunning and vibrant. From watching local news pieces, I learned TV packages only work with the right images to suit the story. I chose this story because I knew it would work as a TV piece. I tried to speak with a lot of people. I chose the individuals with ambient noise in the background to add the atmosphere to the piece, as much local news does. However, this process was moving very quickly and it was a tricky job. I filmed my piece to camera at the beginning of the procession with a lot of people behind me, and then the procession started to move. So did I and my camera operator, but I also wanted to get the audio part correct. In the background, there were a lot of instruments. I made sure that I captured the natural sounds. It was vital for the package to have original sounds. For one interview that I did, the interview was mostly about what the march signified, but the background noise was a little stronger, which is why I could not hear the interviewee. It was a good thing that I had spare interviews that I could use for my final package. I had quite a lot of shots filmed that I wanted to use. It was important for me. Watching an interview with one face for a very long time may not be ideal and won't keep the viewer in. Instead of interviewee's face, I tried to use graphics and videos that showed. I made sure that I show the interviewee enough to get the name tag at the bottom. After that, I attempted to produce a podcast, and I made sure I gave it conversational tone to it. I was able to interview two different people at two different times, so I made sure I include a mid-link to establish their backgrounds and profession. I interviewed them both on Zoom and recorded the meeting, but the mid-link was recorded afterwards, so it does have a little different tone to it. I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but it was tough to trim down a podcast because the original version was too long for the assignment description. The full interview lasted about 40 minutes, but I edited it down to 18 minutes. I ultimately cut it down to 13 minutes because it was too strong. I tried to keep the information appealing and not leave out anything that was relevant or noteworthy to the theme. Everybody I spoke to had a lot to say. I kept my questions short and to the point and let them speak freely. To keep the interview objective, ethical, and candid, I used open-ended questions and over close-ended or leading ones to encourage my respondents to communicate with me about their experiences freely. I managed to stick to the Section 5 of the Ofcom guidelines by emphasizing on impartiality and accuracy. I sought to conduct the detailed research on all the topics that I used for the stories I produce. For example, I arranged an in-person meeting with the Gurudwara people in advance, and I analyzed the Ukraine subject that was a hot topic at the time. I made sure every effort to produce my finest work. I strive to maintain transparency and avoid any kind of awkwardness with the interviewees. I even talked to the interviewees ahead of time to let them know what was happening and that this was for an assignment. Working on this portfolio to produce a news package and a podcast made me believe it is everything is an important part, and it is a process from choosing a story to filming it and to finding a perfect shot, from the interviews to the finished product. It is a process, and it takes time and effort to complete. Even if you get one wrong, it does have an impact on the rest. It's for the live show as well as for the podcast. The most significant aspect of it is the topic. Research, however, also is a crucial component. It should be detailed. This portfolio gave me a confidence to appear in front of camera, also helped me strengthening my editing skills. I tend to believe the coursework was usually slow, but I was not prepared for the pace and discipline required by the portfolio production of this module. More significantly, I struggled to choose the news event to cover from the several possibilities presented. If just for the experiences, I now like to push myself and do things I wouldn't typically do. This is critical for all journalists. Finally, the journalistic narrative, in my opinion, must stay meaningful, intriguing, and timely. I hope to believe that I am skilled at it. I have learned new skills and faced difficulties that this course has helped me tackle. I understand institutions and media houses and how it works, and have developed communication abilities that will help me. Please find the list of references in the soft copy submitted. Thank you.